Thank you very much indeed. Good afternoon. Overtime is becoming the norm for half of Britain's workers because of the recession, with some employees feeling compelled to put in longer hours. That's the findings of a survey of 4,000 workers carried out by BT Business. The survey showed many are working an extra 7 hours a week, effectively a 6-day week. Well, I'm now joined by entrepreneur Peter Jones. Peter Jones, you don't become a dragon, I imagine, without insisting on people putting in a few extra hours. Are you surprised by these numbers?
Do you know what? I'm not actually surprised, because I think people are really having to dig deep and really put the extra hours in. And also, I think there's a lot of insecurity out there that people think, actually, I've got to work even that harder now to actually retain my job, which actually is not necessarily a good thing, because you end up getting a lot of stressed employees. So it's now down to the bosses to think, you know what, how do I actually make my staff a little bit more relaxed, and perhaps the massage should come into the office.
Well, many people might say that it's actually the bosses that possibly could be exploiting the anxiety. We've just seen 2,000 job losses at Lloyd's just a few minutes ago, using that anxiety to force their workers to work a bit harder.
Well, I mean, I think this is a really tricky situation, because, let's be honest, I think we all know these are pretty tough times. We can see it. I mean, the results that have come out today shows that it's pretty tough. But actually, we've got to remain optimistic to an extent. We've got to be pragmatic about it. But if you're owning a business out there, you've got to get now down with your staff. You've got to be talking to your staff, communicate with them, and actually start helping them a little bit more. Now, I'm not suggesting that CEOs of businesses are out there trying to just keep their business alive and forgetting their employees. They're clearly not. But actually, now's the time that you've got to work a little bit harder. And for all those bosses out there, get out of your armchairs and get down to your workforce, get back to base unit, and help your workers really try and perform, and actually take a bit more stress away from them.
OK, so are you saying overtime is a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, actually, I think overtime could be a bad thing, but I think it's a force of habit now, and you can see it is. With those statistics, an extra 7 hours, that's about £200 million coming back into the economy. Now, that's actually a good thing, but there's going to be a consequence. We're probably going to get a little bit stressed when we get home. We're going to fall out with our partners. That's not a good thing. You don't want to fall out with your wife or husband. I think there's a balance to be made.
For those people who do have a job, presumably they're too grateful to grumble.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I think it goes back to the fact that we know it's difficult times and people are stepping up. I say good on you, keep it going, but the bosses out there, look after your staff and start giving the pats on the back that they truly deserve.
And we've had some bad economic numbers this morning saying that the economy shrank much more than we expected. In the past, you've said we're guilty of talking ourselves into a recession. What do you see from your business perspective about the shape of the economy at the moment?
Well, listen, everybody that I talk to, and I'm not just suggesting there's clearly some bad things going on, and especially the financial institutions, this is a global crisis. Yes, we understand that. But the businesses that I speak to are almost sitting quiet saying, crikey, Peter, you know what? I'm doing so well at the moment, and things aren't that bad. I'm too frightened to come and put my head above the parapet and say I'm doing okay. So I think there's a little bit of keeping quiet about how good some businesses are doing out there today. And I also think, I heard the little quote, the sort of Nike blip at the moment. I think that's happening, and I do truly believe this is the start of the recovery. Okay. And if we look back in 6 months' time, you might credit me with it for once.
All right, well, come back in 6 months and we'll see. Thanks very much indeed, Peter Jones. We'll have a quick look at those markets, see whether that reflects any optimism.